The first thing we need to do for the paperclip is we need to level and smooth the long edges. So your paperclips are being made out of acrylic, and they've either been laser cut into shape or they've been cut using a very big machine. And if I just hold this and try and reflect the edge, hopefully you can see there are some scratches along that long edge, and this is what we need to get rid of. But we also need to level it, because as you cut into it, it will create little teeth like edges, which can be quite sharp, and you might not feel that straight away, but if you're using this product every single day over time, you will get used to it. So the tool we're going to be using are these are called files. Now we've got a variety of files in our tool cupboard. We've got some with small 4 flat edges. We don't want to use that one, so that one's going away. We've got round ones. We don't want to use that one, it's going away. We want to use one of these. We want to use a flat facing file. So some of our files have 2 flat edges, perfect. And then we've got these ones which are called half round, because they are half round and half flat. You can use these files. You want to make sure that you're using the flat surface. One health and safety advice, these are called files. You've probably heard that term as in like nail filing. You do not use these to file your own nails. They are far more coarse than a nail file would be, and you're likely to actually rip your nails. So if you're seen using them to file your own nails, you will be asked to leave the room, because that's not suitable behavior with a file. So let's go on to the actual process. The first thing we do is a process called cross filing, and that is where we smooth and level the surface. So I'm going to open up my wood vise, she says. There we go. And I'm going to place my acrylic in so that it is nice and level. I'm also going to, hopefully, there you go, just move the camera angle so you can see it a little bit better. But when I say you want to put it level in the vise, what that means is you want to have the same amount showing either side. So if I just take the camera out for a second. So this is what I mean by that. So I've approximately got the same height at this end sticking out of the vise as I would this end. If you have it wonky like that, it means you're actually going to end up with a wonky edge. So you want to keep it nice and level. And also you don't want it to be stuck too high up in the vise. You want to keep it so approximately half of the acrylic is being shown. You don't need to worry about measurements. It's all just a bit of common sense and taking your time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Right, let's go back into the phone holder. Huzzah. Yay. So let's do some cross filing. So remember, we're using a flat facing file, and I'm going to stand at one edge or one end of my vise, one end. I'm not standing in front of the vise, I'm standing at one end of the vise. So you look, see my foot there? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the edge of the file, I'm going to place that on the edge of my acrylic, and then I'm going to turn the file diagonally. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the file up, but also across at the same time. And what that's going to do is it's going to ensure that I use all of the file surface when I am filing the edge of my acrylic. So it's going to hopefully look a little bit like this. So I'm going up and across at the same time, so I'm using all of that file surface. And I'm going to do that over and over again. And I'm going to create a lot of scratches, and I'll show you what I mean. What you do not want to do is this. That will do nothing. It will just cause your work to be curved. You don't want to do that. You want one long, smooth motion. You also don't want this. I see a lot of people doing that. They think it's fancy. It's not fancy. It's just silly. One long, smooth motion. So you're aiming to start at the top of the file, and you're aiming to get to the bottom by the time you've reached the end of that acrylic. There you go. And what this is going to do is it's going to level the acrylic. So all those little ridges that I was talking about earlier, those little diagonals that creates a sharp edge, we want to get rid of those. Just one more. Now, hopefully you can now see I've got a lot of dust generated. That means I've done a good job. And this is exactly what I want you to see here. Now I've made loads of diagonal scratches going across the acrylic surface. I know it looks terrible, but that's actually a really good thing. It means that we've filed and we've done a really, really good job. So you want to see these diagonal scratches. Okay, if you don't see those, you need to keep going. And you want to do that for the whole length of the long end of the paperclip. Okie dokie, so hopefully now you have cross-filed, excuse me, both long edges of your paperclip. So if we just remember very briefly, summarize, we cross-file to level out the acrylic edge. So we've got rid of that bumpy surface. It's now one flat surface. What we're going to do now is we are going to smooth the acrylic edge, as well as start removing these diagonal scratches. So I don't know if you remember, but earlier I said that with the cross-filing, we're going to create loads of scratches that go diagonally across the edge of our paperclip. What we're going to do now is something called draw filing, like I've just said, and we're going to remove those diagonal scratches, and we're actually going to start making really thin scratches that go along the length of the acrylic. And I know you're thinking, well, why are you making scratches? That's so silly. These scratches are so much easier to get rid of in the next step. If you have loads of these little diagonal ones still going across, they're a lot deeper, which means they're going to be harder to remove, which means at the end of this, when you have your paperclip, you will still see them. And what you really want to be mindful of is the edges, because I get so many young people coming up to me saying, oh, miss, I've done it. And then on the edges, you'll see these really vibrant, quite white, depending on the colour, little corner scratches. You want all of those gone. It literally needs to be straight scratches going all the way down the length. You do not want any diagonal ones at all. So don't go up to your teacher and go, oh, I think I finished, because without being 100% certain that you have in fact finished, because all they'll do is send you back and say, keep going. So let me show you the next step. It's so ridiculously easy and it's quite fun. This is called draw filing. We're still using a flat face file. We're going to actually hold the file and we're going to place it on our acrylic. So the middle of the file is over the edge. And all I'm going to do is go forwards, backwards, in a nice reciprocating motion. So again, I'm not going, I'm going in a continuous motion from one length to the other. I'm not doing little lengths, whole length. And what this is going to do, it's going to remove those diagonal scratches, and it's going to create those long lines that are going from end to end. And what you want to be really careful of this one is make sure you're going to the very edge, because what I often find is we get young people who just focus on the middle and then they end up with a swoop in the middle of their paperclip. You want to go right to the end, which is why you don't want to rush. If you rush, you're more likely to make mistakes. Take your time with it. There we go. So if I just clean that off. And also health and safety, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, never ever blow acrylic dust, because you can get in someone's eyes and someone's face. So what you want to do is use a hoover just to zip that up quite quickly. There we go. So I don't know if I can zoom in. Yes, I can. There we go. So my diagonal scratches have now turned into, sorry, crazy camera, long, lengthy scratches going right the way along the edge of that acrylic. So that is what you're aiming for. I can still see them, and that's absolutely fine. But you want them to be long, lengthy scratches. So give that a go. Okie dokie, so for this part of the video, hopefully what you've done by now is you've cross-filed and you've draw-filed, so you've now got a nice, smooth, slightly smooth acrylic edge, and you've got long scratches going all the way down. What we want to do now is we want to round off these edges. We want them to be more comfortable, better to hold, etc. So we're going to round them off. And we're going to round them off using draw filing. I've zoomed out as far as I can, and I'm going to be stood behind the camera because you need to pay attention to what I'm doing with the actual file itself. Because we all know, hopefully, that draw filing is a process where you go up, down, up, down. We're going to use that process, however, I'm going to move my file up a little bit just so you can keep an eye on the handle. As I'm going up, down, up, down, up, down, what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to start lifting the handle upwards whilst I'm still moving in that reciprocating motion. so that I can take off the corner of the acrylic and create a nice smooth rounded edge. So you want your file to be on the end of the acrylic and the end of the file. Now I'm using two hands. I'm actually holding the file at both ends. I'm not holding the handle. However you want to hold it's up to you. It's whatever you're comfortable with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up, down, and then I'm slowly, keep an eye on that handle. Keep an eye on the handle. Because I'm doing this really slowly. I'm not rushing it, because in theory you should only have to do this once. Going up, down, lift up the handle until it's basically pointing to the vise. And now I'm going to bring the handle back down. So as I'm going up, down, I'm going to slowly bring that handle back down. And again, I'm going really slowly. I'm not rushing it because, again, you should only have to do this once. Whoosh, let's check. So now, beautiful. I now have a nice rounded paperclip end, and you can see how the vinyl started to come away. That's a good thing. That means I've actually gone into the actual corner of the acrylic. So I've now got a really smooth edge. I don't need to do that again, it's done. It's lovely and smooth. The purpose is to remove that sharpness. So what I would do now is the exact same process, but on the other side. Now to do that, it is really important that you take the acrylic out and swap it over. Don't try and move the file so that the handle is over the bench, because you won't be able to lift it or drop it to a decent enough height. You have to swap the acrylic around. And if you're worried, but what if I lose track of what I do and which end I've actually filed, you should be able to tell just by feeling it. And if you can't, you need to do it again. But here's another little gentle reminder. So end of the file on the end of my acrylic, I'm holding the file itself, not the handle. I'm going to lift the handle up. So up, down, lift the handle up, down, slowly lifting the handle up. See the vinyl's coming away, that's a good sign. Cutting into the vinyl now, that's a good sign. It's pointing to the bench. So now I'm going to bring it down, done. Yep, perfect. That's beautiful. That's a really good job. Yay me. What you will notice, however, is if I take this out basically, you will notice that you create lots and lots of scratches again. That is not a drama because they're going down the length of the acrylic. They're not diagonal, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of those in the next video.